So before we get started with this video, I just want to say thank you to each and every single one of you guys, okay? Shout out to the King Squad, the King Squad family, and the King Squad Elites. You guys are the bomb.com. I appreciate you guys. They definitely just tried hitting our previous video, and for the content that we posted, I had to re-upload the video. So thank you to everyone who went and still supported it, showed the video love, and continues to share these videos, okay? It really means a lot. And we do everything we can to get this truth out so more people can be exposed to the truth and navigate through the mainstream media's jungle of lies. So that's that. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, share these videos. And again, thank you for all your support. Let's get right into these comments. And yeah, here we go. Take nothing for, oh, we have our cursor working. Shout out to Barry Callahan. Take nothing for granted, America. Vote red down the ballot. And shout out to Kenoriel. Please vote Trump. Australia needs him too. And yeah. Shout out to LMAK. Trump needs to be president for the security of the Western world. Okay, it's terrifying. Shout out to the Just Nick. It's terrifying. It's terrifying that almost half the country wants 4 more years of this. I completely agree with this comment the most. All of them. But yeah, it's nuts out here. Okay, how they want socialism and communism is absolutely diabolical. We're gonna get right into this video. Shout out to the liberal hive mind. I will be giving my commentary periodically throughout the video. More so on the back end.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Okay, so today we got some really interesting news, I have to say. You know, it's been a while since we made a video like this. We've got some huge flips. Man, it's been a while since I said that, but like I've been telling you guys, it really feels like the trajectory of this election is following a similar path to what we saw with Joe Biden and Donald Trump in that matchup. Look, it's just the data. Take what you will, I guess, but it's clear that there's a trend here, and that trend is moving in one direction, and that's in the favor of Donald Trump, and it's getting to a point where some of these polls are suggesting that the polling outlook at large might be deeply wrong, and that's creating the opportunity for some serious flips here. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so first off, I want to start off with a Senate flip. We've been covering all the polls and all the talks about Kari Lake. The general consensus has been that Kari Lake is not going to stand a chance in Arizona. There's been a lot of talk about her being unelectable, too extreme. She still refuses to back down on her stances relating to 2020, and the Arizona electorate doesn't want anything to do with it. I'm sure you've heard all the talk, all the analysis in regards to the Senate race. It's been poll after poll after poll showing her opponent Ruben Gallego supposedly leading with massive margins. At one point, I think a majority of polls were showing Kari Lake trailing by over 10 percentage points. But now, all of a sudden, according to Data Orbital, the race might have flipped on its head. Take a look at this. I mean, just look at these incredible numbers. First off, I'd like to point out the fact that it seems Donald Trump could be ahead big time in the state. They're suggesting that Donald Trump is up by 8 points. Now, this poll, of course, is an outlier. We have to acknowledge that. But as usual, when it comes to polling data in a general election where Trump is on the ballot, sometimes the outlier is more tuned in with reality than the massive mainstream polls being released. You know, there's usually a baked-in margin of error that tends to benefit Trump. I think Trump's average lead in Arizona is somewhere around 2 points, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, according to Real Clear Politics, Donald Trump is up 2.4 on average. But that result could be wrong, it could be off, and Trump could possibly be ahead in the state a whole lot more than these polls are suggesting. And that might have a down ballot effect, and that could mean that Kari Lake is headed towards victory. Kari Lake might head to the Senate. That to me, honestly, is a dream scenario, and really I don't think it's too much of a long shot. You know, if you look at the overall look in the race, it looks like Gallego's going to run away with this thing, but I think these polls could be wrong. And if you look at the latest Atlas Intel poll and the Data Orbital poll, Atlas Intel, by the way, is one of the most accurate pollsters in the game according to 538. I think they're actually rated the #1 pollster on Nate Plastic's board. So yeah, you get it. The point is, we got 2 incredibly accurate pollsters showing this race in a dead tie. And of course, still with undecided voters. In the Data Orbital poll, 10% is undecided. In the Atlas Intel poll, 4% is undecided. If undecided voters lean Republican in this election, Kari Lake could run away with this thing by a couple percentage points. It's possible. It might even be likely, especially if you're paying attention to the early voting data. Republicans are outpacing Democrats big time in Arizona in early mail-in ballots and early voting. And so if I'm analyzing the polling data, I'd have to say that the Atlas Intel data and the Data Orbital data seems to be more in line with what we're actually seeing in terms of current results than what the average is suggesting or what these left-wing push polls polls are saying is going to happen. But anyways, that's what we got for Arizona so far. We got some other things to get into. Basically, TLDR, Donald Trump seems to be pushing his lead further and further in Arizona, and Kari Lake might actually take this thing, to the surprise I'd say to most people. And now to the next possible flip, this might be the biggest news of all that nobody's talking about. We got to go to the state of New Hampshire, because Real Clear Politics just moved New Hampshire from lean Democrat to a toss-up state. Take a look, folks. The color code tells you all that you need to know. If a state is colored gray, it's officially a toss-up. And right over here, you can see New Hampshire is officially a toss-up according to their average. Now, it might be a little bit of a stretch. I don't think the polling data is there just yet. But what do I know? I think Real Clear Politics is a little bit better at this than I am. And they seem to be totally comfortable marking the state as a toss-up state. You know, maybe it has something to do, again, with the error in polling from previous elections. And the most recent Rasmussen poll that shows the state within 1 point, it's too close of a race. It's become too hard to predict these days. And so boom, it goes into the toss-up column. This is some pretty crazy stuff, folks. The reality here is that any slim margin for the Democrats is no longer safe. It's no longer lean Democrat or safe Democrat, likely Democrat. It's now a toss-up. I mean, they got Minnesota as a toss-up as well. If the Democrats don't seriously show up on election day, they might not only lose, they might lose so bad that they start losing ground in historically Democrat states. And it's not hopium, it's not copium, it's a real reality. It's a possibility here. Democrats just aren't building up the early vote firewall that they need. In other words, they have to show up big time on election day, which isn't something that they've done in the past few elections. Meanwhile, only a small percentage of Republicans have voted in early voting and mail-in ballots, and they are expected to show up in droves, highly enthused to vote on election day. The blue wall might fall. And we've got a lot of indication that this might be the case. This is the last flip that we got to talk about. It's not a state flipping, but it is in a way a historic flip. We've got the Maine student mock election. It's a tradition going back decades where Maine students engage in a mock election. And back in 2008, Maine students voted for Obama at 62%, McCain for 34%. In 2012, 61% Obama, Mitt Romney 33%. In 2016, they voted for Donald Trump at 41.6%, Hillary Clinton at 40%, meaning they predicted that 2016 election win. In 2020, 50% for Biden, 42% for Trump. And now in 2024, this is the result. Not only is Donald Trump leading in the Maine student mock election, he's leading by 11.2 points. That is devastating, friends. And that's a huge flip from the 2020 results from the exact same mock vote. Look, again, not a prediction. I'm not saying that you should get complacent, but it's looking like this may be a historic landslide. It's looking like the large majority of polling data may be completely off the mark, not getting it right, and Trump might run away with this thing, just as the polls were suggesting and slowly moving towards during the Trump-Biden matchup. The longer that election went on, the more it became evident that Donald Trump was going to run away with this thing, that Joe Biden didn't stand a chance, and now we're seemingly moving the same direction. I mean, even Trump hater Frank Luntz is reluctantly admitting that in his mainstream media interviews.
Because it reminds me so much of 2016, and I think there are a lot of similarities right now between this campaign and that campaign. The divisions in the country were significant back then. People didn't think Trump had a chance back then. He's been gaining and gaining. The momentum, I don't know who's going to win. I can't call it, and nobody should, because statistically and polling and focus groups, it is way too close to call. However, the momentum is clearly, in what I see and what I hear, is in his favor. And so every word, every phrase, every misstep, every gaffe matters as those last remaining persuadables make their decision. I don't believe in the undecided anymore. I don't believe there's undecided.
It's looking like 2016 all over again, except it might be a whole lot worse. There's a decent likelihood that Trump gets over 300 electoral votes, and it might not be 302 votes, it might not be 312, it might be 330 plus. Parts of the blue wall might actually fall. Based on my view, I mean, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm exaggerating. I'm certainly biased, so it plays a factor. I wouldn't be surprised if Virginia's in play, New Jersey's in play, New Hampshire, Minnesota. I think Trump's going to run away with it in a lot of the key swing states, and he's going to be way more competitive than people expect in some traditionally blue states. And while certainly my bias plays a role in that, I wouldn't say it's a prediction, I just think there's a likelihood that it happens. While bias may play a role, I don't think I'm crazy to suggest what I'm saying because there's data to back it up. And I'm not the only one highlighting that. But possibly the best news of the day, everybody's been saying that Kari Lake's election is dead in the water. She doesn't stand a chance, but it seems as though that race might have flipped entirely. Kari Lake might be a senator. I can't think of too many things more base than that. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed.
So shout out to the liberal hive mind. And as far as my own personal thoughts, yeah, they are definitely trying to rig this election and cheat. Okay, I think it is not good for Republicans, independents, leaning conservative, independents that, you know, this will be their first time voting, and yeah, well, leaning conservative, but yeah, it's not the time to sit here and, you know, like second guess yourself. You definitely, you know, can't get complacent. You definitely got to just go out and go for Trump, because I mean, it's either Trump or 4 more years of this nonsense we've just, you know, survived. We didn't just go through this; we survived it, and just barely at that. I mean, it's just been just a giant conundrum. Okay, it's been hell on earth. All right, it's like the whole country's on fire. That's what it seems like. And you know, people are struggling, people are starving, people are trying to enjoy their days. You know, spend time with their families, and it's like your paychecks just get eaten up. You know, I said in one of my previous videos, it's like every day costs $300, and the price just, you know, yesterday's price is not today's price. It only gets more expensive. So that's how I see it. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I definitely think it's important that people continue to be proactive, ambitious. And I definitely see it as the early bird gets the worm. So continue to just keep doing a great job you guys are doing. And let me know what you guys think below in the comments. Let me know if you guys voted. Let me know. Well, yeah, I would hope. And all that kind of stuff, you guys. I will see you in the next one. Shout out to the King Squad, the King Squad family, the King Squad Elite. You guys at the bomb.com. Peace.